Angry guy here, and 40% of working age American men are refusing to work. Guys, if you're enjoying this content, please help get this channel to 100,000 subscribers on our journey to 2 million by subscribing to the channel if you already haven't, liking the video, and turning on notifications to never miss another video ever again. Now let's begin. 40% of working age American men are refusing to work. Let's just go ahead and jump into this article right here. This is actually insane. So this is specifically talking about the current trends in Western society. Over 7 million men have dropped out of the workforce. They are not working at all. And when we look at this number right here, this is actually mostly men. When government assistance pays better than not working, you have socialism. Stop kidding yourself that America isn't socialist. The below is a chart of the employment participation rate of those 18 years old to 64. As you can see, it gets worse every year in the last 95% of these people should be working. However, the ease to collect Social Security, disability, and welfare rewards, freeloaders, to where almost 40% of working age Americans won't work, coupled with 60% of Americans who pay no income tax and 10% pay 90% of the tax, you have true socialism. And this is insane. This is insane. And what's crazy about this is that people are basically, they're trying to figure out how are these men pulling this off. So if we jump over here, 7 ways men live without working in America. Almost 1/3 of all working age men in America aren't doing diddly squat. 1/3, y'all. 1/3. Absolutely insane. They don't have a job, and they aren't looking for one either. 1/3 of all working age men. That's almost 30 million people, guys. 30 million men are sitting out and not working, refusing to work. How do they live? What are they doing for money? To me, this is one of the greatest mysteries of our time, right? I'm certainly not the first person to make note of this shocking statistic. You've heard people bemoaning this labor participation rate, which is simply the number of working age men, usually counted as ages 16 to 64, who are working or seeking work, as a percentage of the overall labor force. This is crazy. This actually comes from Yahoo Finance. 30 million men are not working. 30 million men are doing diddly squat. It's true that the events of 2020, which of course produced a number of factors that made working more difficult, never mind dangerous, pushed the labor participation rate to a record low. But the fact that millions of American males have not been working precedes the events of 2020. In fact, the participation rate for men peaked at 87.4% in October 1949 and has been dropping steadily ever since, and now stands at 67.7%, y'all. These are men walking away. As a business journalist for a good portion of those 7 years, I've looked at thousands of charts and graphs in my life, and I have to say, this one is jaw-dropping as it is vexing. Oh my gosh. Economists, sociologists, politicians, and cable news pundits have their pet factors to explain the groundswell of non-work. But after digging down here, I've concluded there are many different forces at play. That's what I want to explore today, which is how men can live in America without working. I love this. So one is unemployment insurance. Let's start with this one because it's a hot button issue. Conservatives and some liberals too have made the claim that state unemployment aid, coupled with $600 a week from CARES Act, which was rolled out in March 2020, have reduced men's need to work. There are actually a variety of social programs at play, spelled out nicely, but think tank Century, which estimates that overall these programs have pumped $800 billion into the economy, we'll be getting a good read on whether all this relief did suppress employment. So, the CARES aid ended for some 7.5 million earlier this month, as Yahoo Finance's Denista Teskova reported. So they actually ended that. So that may mean these payments weren't really enough to live off, or not enough to live off by themselves, which speaks to men looking to a combination of income sources, like under the table income or family support, and possibly even savings. So it wasn't the money that these men received during the events of 2020 that was not enough to survive on. In reality, this suggests that a lot of these dudes may be making money under the table, living off family, and also living off savings. Like I said, guys, men don't need much to survive. Men don't need a lot to survive. Then there's early retirement, pensions, disability, and lawsuits. Admittedly, this is a big hodgepodge, as is the case with many of these categories. Hard data is tough to come by, but it is the case that millions of men under 64 are at least partly living off pensions and 401ks. This would include everything from C-suite executives to union members. And don't forget municipal workers, who make up almost 14% of the U.S. workforce. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, there are some 6,000 public sector retirement systems in the U.S. collectively. In the U.S. collectively, these plans have $4.5 trillion in assets. Wow. So 14.7 million working members and 11.2 million retirees. The plans distribute $323 billion in benefits annually. And again, some to men who are younger than 64. In fact, almost 2/3 of these plans, if you started working at 25, you max out at 57. A real indictment to stop working, at least at that job, of course. There's also disability insurance from the Social Security Administration that is being paid to some 9 million Americans who may receive payments many years before retirement age. That's why I'm including disability here, but no plain vanilla Social Security, which they can't receive until age 62. The maximum disability benefit you receive each month is currently $3,148. Bro, guys, I did not know you could receive that much in disability. You can receive $3,148 in disability. Unbelievable. However, the average beneficiary receives around $1,277 per month, according to the law group Social Security Disability Advocates. Overall, it looks like the SSA payout on some 130 billion in Social Security annually. That's not nothing. Then there's money paid out in medical malpractice each year. Smaller, true, but still estimated to be in excess of $3 billion. And don't forget payments from legal settlements and class action lawsuits. Guys, these men are working hard. Savings, trading stocks, and Bitcoin. Consider now men are living off savings or from money made in the market, or maybe even selling NFTs. How many is it exactly? Who knows? But quite a few for sure. First off, Americans on average do have some money in the bank. Savings as a percentage of disposable income, according to the Federal Reserve of Kansas City, hit a record high of 33% in the spring of 2020 and is still at 14%, or nearly twice as high as it was prior to the events of 2020. So men are also filing lawsuits to survive. They're making money under the table. They're filing for Social Security disability early. They're likely filing for Social Security SSI. This is insane. They're collecting money from settlements. They're day trading. They're selling NFTs, so they're making money off Bitcoin. Guys, this is crazy. Next, let's look at investments for stocks. It's not irrelevant to this narrative that the S&P 500 has climbed 2,480 on March 12, 2020, to the day after the world to the day after things changed in 2020 to 4,441 today, or almost 80%. That's a huge gain. Much of the action, of course, has been retail investors and the meme stock boom. as millions of American males stuck at home with nothing to do all day for the past 18 months past the time trading stocks, right? So these guys have made a ton of money trading stocks. How many men were doing this and supporting themselves? Unclear, but upstart trading platform Robinhood, the broker dealer of choice for many of these new investors, reported it had 22.5 million funded user accounts last month, up from 7.2 million in March 2020. Let's just say 15 million new accounts is quite a number. So most of those are men. Guys, these guys, now crypto, you can laugh all you want, but the simple fact is that the price of Bitcoin is up from $4,861 in March 2020 to $47,763 today, or basically up 10 times. Remember, it even hit $64,888.99 in the spring of 2021. Yeah. Back to Robinhood, which according to the New York Times also reported last month that the revenue from cryptocurrency trading fees totaled 233 million, a near 50-fold jump from 5 million a year earlier. Guys, this is crazy. These are crazy numbers, absolutely crazy numbers. Okay. Working for cash, aka under the table. This one is very tough to measure. A study by the Federal Reserve of St. Louis estimates that the average size of the informal economy in developed countries is 13% of GDP. Honestly, that could be off by many percentage points, but just to give you a ballpark, GDP in the US this year is around 22 trillion. So 13% of that is 2.86 trillion. As it turns out, 2 trillion plus is a number that has been thrown around quite a bit here. And for instance, when it comes to estimating the size of the cash economy in the US, even if half that money is paid out to women, that still leaves, say, $1 trillion being made by men in the country off the books. That's a big chunk of change. Are more people than ever working for cash these days? Again, another question that's impossible to answer. I would bet it's not fewer. For example, my electrician Lewis told me he can't get anyone to work for him anymore. They all want to get paid in cash. Then there's also living off family members. And research from Pew Research Center reported last year that the events of 2020 has pushed millions of Americans, especially young adults, to move in with family members. So this is a big one. And the share of 18 to 29-year-olds living with their parents has become a majority since the U.S. Events of 2020 started, surpassing the previous peak during the Great Depression era. In July, 52% of young adults resided with one or both of their parents, up from 47% in February. How many of these individuals are males living rent-free and sharing food too? which maybe means they don't have to work. Who knows? But some. Ditto for males who have moved in with in-laws or siblings. And again, many men are choosing to stay home and take care of kids while their spouses work. Then there's illegal work. Selling illicit substances. Sadly, business looks like it's booming. Holy cow. Okay. As people are being deleted as a result of using these illicit substances, up by a stunning 30% from 2019. So so they think that a lot of these men are selling illicit substances to fund their lifestyle. Bro, guys, better not messing around. What about other types of activities? Everything from taking what's not yours to basically working as a manager of evening delights, as Mayumi likes to call them, or ladies of the night, and getting a cut from that. Bro, this is crazy. Okay, then there are also men living off the land. This would include gardening, fishing, hunting, clamming, berrying, and just general foraging. The numbers seem to be climbing. Fishing and hunting licenses sales increased 10% in California during the events of 2020, reversing years of decline. Clamming has grown in popularity for several reasons. People are looking for safe activities to do outdoors, but also some are clamming for subsistence and trying to get money from selling the shellfish, which is illegal without a commercial license. From the start of 2020, the 2020 licensing year, in May 2020 through December 2020, it's been reported that they sold nearly 45,000 more fishing licenses and 12,000 more hunting licenses. This was reported by the Washington Department of Fish and Licenses. This is madness just for like one state. And the number of new license holders defined as someone who hadn't purchased one for the previous 5 years went up 16% for fishing licenses and almost 40% for hunters. Guys, so men are men don't need a lot to survive. So dudes are literally going out hunting a deer, hunting a couple of deers, and that's enough meat for months. You get a freezer, you put that together. That will hold you down, guys. A deer is a lot of meat. A deer is a lot of meat. I think you can even go after a moose. Moose meat is, you have to be very careful how you prepare it. I've heard, but if you do it right, that's a lot of meat. Moose, bear, guys, come on, come on. As for growing vegetables in home gardens, yes, it's up, way up too. Even before the events of 2020, there were estimates that a third of American families grow vegetables. Now, this NPR reported last year, we're being flooded with vegetable orders, says George Ball, executive chairman of Burpee Seed Company. Ball says he has noticed spikes in seed sales during bad times. The stock market crashed in 1987, the dot-com bubble of 2000, and he remembers the two oil crises of the 1970s from his childhood, but he says he has not seen a spike this large and widespread. So there you have it. It's a whole range of ways and means, behaviors, and experiences. I mean, sure, I miss some too. Again, some non-working men are in dire straits and need our help. Others are living non-working lives without burdening society as others, such as a firearm on early retirement, though some argue municipal employees' pensions are too high, or an investor who made a ton of money in the market and called it quits, or maybe a wilderness guy living off the land in Alaska. And some non-working guys are not playing fair, like getting paid under the table, fudging insurance claims or social programs, some freeloading off relatives, and some engage in overtly illegal behavior like boosting branded goods from chain stores to sell online or dealing illicit substances. I would imagine that more than a few of these men create a portfolio of sources. That's right, guys. Never depend on just one source of income. Bro, y'all, this is a hater. Haters gonna hate. Love is gonna love. I don't even want none of the above. Guys, if you're enjoying this content, please help get this channel to 100,000 subscribers by subscribing to the channel if you already have it, liking the video, and turning on notifications to never miss another video ever again. %40 of working age American men are refusing to work. Let me know what you guys think regarding this in the comments, and we'll talk about it more there. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.